we had a quick chat yesterday, and you gave me a little bit of history about you almost like it's as if you accidentally became the admin for POTA.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I mean, quite a few of us have heard about the US version of Parks on the Air, but it's only in the past 6 months or so that I've heard about Parks on the Air actually being in the UK.
Well, that's right. So I guess it all started, as I said yesterday, it all started with me getting into radio in 2017, becoming aware or being made aware of summits on the air, and then my health taking a dive bomb with my ankle situation. So I've not been able to do any SOTA activations. I think well, I actually made a video on the last walk I did last year, and it was in the springtime. So I haven't walked anywhere since. I've not been traveling for work as a result or anything like that. So roughly around the time I was doing my intermediate studies, I became aware of Parks on the Air through watching one of the American guys, Mike K8 MRD Kilo 8 Mike Romeo Delta. And he's quite active on Parks on the Air, and it just struck me as a really, really good way of getting out and having an excuse to go out portable.
Yeah,
and because you know what it's like, there's always something else to do in the house. Whereas if you put something in, like Callum said on one of his videos, you put something in your diary, it makes you go out and do something. So I was getting interested in Parks on the Air, and obviously I started to research it, and I just discovered that it wasn't active in the UK, and I thought it was a bit naff, to be honest. And then I joined their Facebook group, and I said, like, what's happening with the UK? And Jason, who's the admin, W3AXX, I believe his call sign, he invited me onto Slack, and we had a chat. Slack is the collaboration tool that we use in the scheme, and as you say, before I knew it, I was the admin for the England area, the G region.
right.
So that was me. Yeah, that was my 15 minutes of fame. And over the last year, obviously we've added Wales in.
Right. Okay.
Hope at some point I can hand off to somebody that is from Wales.
Yeah.
And at the moment we've got a chap up in Scotland who's working on the Scottish part list as well. So
Okay.
hopefully within a month or so we should have Golf Mike online as well.
Okay.
And wider, there are more and more countries buying in to the Parks on the Air scheme.
Yeah.
Every month, Netherlands came on stream. I think it was back in January. So we've got parks in Netherlands now that we can hunt, and so yeah, it's really taken off. I mean, there's been some resistance from the UK amateur community because of the way that the parks were. There's a lot of overlap with WFF, and there's been some. I wouldn't say hostility, but there's been a bit of back and forth about it. But overall, the main feedback that I've had has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Particularly when when I first started with it, I was on my Todd, went out and activated a park I went and did the Peak District as a first official park activation. Basically did a talk at the club and got 6 members overnight from members of the club, and one of those members of the club, he's who I mentioned to you yesterday, Paul M0PJA. He's not very good with his health at the minute. I hope he doesn't mind me saying.
Okay.
And he's really taken to Parks on the Air,
right,
because he's an ex-SOTA activator.
Okay.
And since his health deteriorated, he's not been able to get out and go portable with his radio.
Okay.
And as soon as I essentially dropped the scheme into the club, he was out.
Okay.
And
Right.
he's probably done more activations in the UK at the moment than any of us, because he's being assisted by one of the other club members, Gary, M0 Oscar November India, who I've known for a long time. He's basically assisting him in the activations. So the two of them go out, they rock up to a park location, they set up, they announce themselves on the spotting site, and they announce themselves on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
And then they have the world chasing them. I mean, they literally have guys in America on tenterhooks waiting for them to, to start transmitting.
Oh, that's really good. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's the spark's there.
Yeah.
And hopefully with the stuff I'm going to be doing this year, later on in the year, we hopefully will get a bit more traction in the UK, and light a few more parks up along the way.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a great job. I mean, you've done a lot of work of updating the database as well with the parks and the locations. And you were telling me yesterday about there's a lot of manual work that you're doing to actually update the database.
Well, that's right. I mean, there's when I took this on, I was essentially given a list of places, and they were basically the WWFF locations. Now that's good because there's some cracking locations in that list, but in terms of parks, there were very few actual parks apart from the national parks,
Yeah.
and the areas of outstanding natural beauty.
Yeah.
So what I did, I discussed it with Jason, and I managed to get country parks, county showgrounds, and a few other bits and bobs allowed into the scheme. Because basically, he doesn't want, that their scheme doesn't have like the municipal level parks
Okay.
that we have here in abundance.
Right.
And that's one of the issues that I face. One of the challenges that I've got is that, why can't I have, people become aware of the scheme, and it's like, why can't I have my park down the road in the list? Well, it's not my rules. It's the rules of the global scheme.
Is there a rule that we can't have like municipal or council parks? Are they not allowed?
Yeah, but pretty much. I mean, it has to be a provincial level park or above. So you're looking at, like I've said, the national parks,
County
the
park.
the country parks, places like Chatsworth, and the one down the road from you, Trentham Gardens.
Yes. I've been down there today just to do a recce, just to test out VHF, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
And
so I won't mind coming down there myself actually, and activating that. But yeah, that's the issue. And then when you've got a list of places, obviously then you've got to stick them in a table, and then you've got to think about then providing the mapping information, which is the lat and the lawn information.
Yeah.
And for some of these parks, it's quite easy because I just pick the pin that's in Google Maps for the Peak District. I'll just go to that pin and get the grid of it because it's so huge. I mean, you have to pick an arbitrary point in the park.
Yeah.
But for some of the other places that are smaller, it's easy. You can just put like the pin in the car park for the place.
Yeah.
That becomes the location. So it's but it's time consuming because obviously with the 500, I think there's 505 parks in the system now.
Okay.
That's 505 locations that you've got to go into Google Maps, suss out the place where it is, get the coordinates, and then stick that in the spreadsheet. Right. And obviously, if you're looking at 5 to 10 minutes per park, and some of these places are really, really hard to find, even though they're on the map. But it's trying to determine whereabouts on the map they are. I mean, if you look at the Northumberland coast, for instance, there's a whole chain of dots, just literally from the Scottish border all the way down to Newcastle, and it's almost like every different cove has a park reference. That's because there's that many of these nationally registered nature reserves,
yeah,
and little places and sites of significant scientific interest that you could start at the Scottish border with a with a handheld, and like stop in one spot, get 10 contacts, walk half a mile, spark up another park.
That'll make a great holiday.
It would. It
Yeah.
would make a great backpacking holiday, wouldn't it? You just
Yeah.
just strolling down the Northumbrian coast, and it's quite lovely up there.
Yeah, I saw a conversation on the Facebook group about the radar challenge and parks on the air, and in the US they're looking at doing both activities. If you got a park that actually is big enough, you could activate using radar, like the radar challenge.
Oh yeah.
Rapid deployment.
Yeah. Well, there's the if you've got like parks in that kind of vicinity, you could activate the park, as I said, literally with a low power, either or with a 2 meter tiny little 2 meter mobile set, or a decent HT, spark up. Excuse me, get 10 contacts, close down your station, and then walk the prerequisite amount of time that the radar challenge mandates, and then you can set back up and do another 10 contacts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the rules and the whys and the wherefores are for the radar challenge, but I know Julian White, Oscar Hotel 8, Sierra Tango November, he doesn't do POTA, but I've seen his videos where he does the radar challenge, and they are really, especially where he, obviously where he is.
Yeah.
And when he does it, it's quite challenging because the ground is, he might be walking or skiing over snow, or, he's on his electric bike with a trailer on the back, or,
Well, this is what I like about the parks on the air, is that it accommodates for people, like you've mentioned already. The people, you can just turn up in your car and operate from the car and activate parks on the air, but you could walk 100 yards and operate from a park bench, or you could really challenge yourself and go a little bit further. So I think that the parks on the air is actually a great way of getting people, like I say, getting people out of the shack, getting them out in the fresh air, and then also for those people that want to increase their exercise levels, parks on the air is a great excuse to get some exercise in. So I think it's a great scheme.
Yeah, and to participate, you don't just have to activate. If you're unable to leave home, you can sit in your shack and chase down the people like me, and hopefully you, and whoever else wants to take part. Get with the spotting facilities and the ability to self spot, which obviously
okay, right.
Yeah, so you can. There's no restriction on having to have somebody else spot you, like there is with some of the contests. You can using the tools that are available on the POTA website. You can schedule an activation, so it's in the calendar and for people to see. And then when you get there, you can spot yourself if you've got mobile data coverage where you are.
Yeah,
you can spot yourself directly in real time. And if you can't spot yourself, then by the fact that you've scheduled your activation anyway, people are going to be looking for you.
Okay, that's good.
And they will look for you. I mean, some of the guys in the States, I mean, using Paul as an example again, he's had people looking for him when he goes out. And if they're unsuccessful, they send him an email to say, went looking, we were looking for you today. We could hear you in the back of the box. Really disappointed, but better luck next time. And there's so much positive feedback about the scheme. It's really, really good. And
so where can people go to find out more about Parks on the Air? Where's the best place?
Right. Well, you've got two options really. You can either go straight to the website, which is parksontheair.com, with a www in front of it. That will take you to the Parks on the Air website, or you can join the Facebook group. So there's a Facebook group, Parks on the Air, which is like one big massive community of people. And at the minute, I know there's a little bit of reticence for people in the United Kingdom to join that Facebook group or maintain a presence in that Facebook group, because it is so heavily US centric.
Okay.
Because obviously that's where the bulk of the membership is.
Yeah.
And I know you've asked, and I've had emails from people who've joined the scheme to say, why don't we have a UK or an England Facebook group? And I'm up for that, but at the minute, with the membership on this side of the pond being so small,
Yeah,
I don't think it's quite the right time. I think once we've got a couple of hundred people,
yeah,
it would be worthwhile, because a Facebook page where you've got, like, for instance, if there's 60 people registered in the UK right now, some of them are going to be on Facebook and some of them aren't. So
yeah,
already you've got a smaller number than 60, and some of them are going to be hunters and some of them are going to be activators.
yeah.
So I don't want to set the page up and have it sat there doing nothing.
Yeah, no, that
what I
makes
mean?
sense. Yeah, yeah.
So I'd rather set a UK page up when, and hopefully it will happen later this year, when as we go out and we basically create more activity in Parks on the Air. I'm hoping very much that the membership will increase.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
And at that point, I think the justification for a regional Facebook page
Yeah.
for Parks on the Air would be a lot stronger.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's just my feeling, and what I don't want to do is I don't want us to, like, alienate the other guys either.
No, no, there's a lot to, and like you say, there's a lot of US chasers as well. So
Yeah.
setting up a separate UK POTA group, then the US people won't know who to chase apart from the spots.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of factors in that I'm trying to balance in my mind, and at the moment, I just don't think the time's right. That might have a negative impact on the membership, on the potential membership. I don't know, but it's just, I've got that dilemma.
Okay, so we're all organising a date for I wouldn't say a launch, but we're all trying to coordinate some POTA activities. So can you just tell us a bit more about some dates that people need to be aware of and some activities that are going on?
Okay, well, the main one that obviously you're aware of at the moment is the I think it's the 20th to 21st of June. Let me just check my calendar.
Yes, I think 21st, was it?
Yeah, it's definitely 21st is definitely in there.
Yeah.
That's where are we? Where are we? Yeah, so it's the 20th and 21st, Saturday and Sunday in June, around the time of the longest day.
Okay.
So the reason why we did it that way is because we didn't want it. There's quite a few of us in my club workshop, Amateur Radio Society, that do contesting, and the club always fields a very, very strong field day contestation, and that's on the 4th and the 5th of July. Okay. So we didn't want to do it the week before National Field Day, because obviously we didn't want people to be out 2 weekends on the bounce.
Yeah, yeah.
So we went for the 20th and the 21st to give us the maximum amount of daylight, obviously the best chance of some DX conditions, and obviously that almost the longest day to be out activating parks.
Yeah, yeah.
And the intention there is purely to get as many people out doing Parks on the Air on that weekend. Hopefully get plenty of park-to-park activity, which is where obviously two activators in different parks
right,
contact with each other.
Yeah.
And basically try and get some good, get a lot of contacts in the log. Work a lot of places that we wouldn't normally operate.
Yeah.
I mean, my RF position at home is dire. I mean, the middle of the housing estate, there's S8 of hash noise.
Yeah, yeah.
From power suppliers, and probably the VDSL. I've not got a big garden, so I'm constrained on what antennas I can put up. So I don't tend to do a lot of HF radio at home.
Okay, right, yeah, yeah.
But going out, that's when I like to work HF, and for that particular weekend, I'll be going up to the Tan Hill Inn, which is on the board, which is right on the border of the Yorkshire Dales National Park and the North Pennines area of outstanding natural beauty.
Okay.
So literally, one side of the road at Tan Hill Inn is the Yorkshire Dales Park, and the other side of the road is North Pennines AONB.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time up there. Yeah. So myself and I think it's Gary's going to join me. We're going to be up there for we're going to go up there early Saturday morning, set up a station on one side of the road, activate one park, drop in, stay there overnight, and then drop into the other park on the next day.
Okay.
Some other guys, we've got a guy over in the Lake District. He's going to fire up the Lake District National Park and a few of the smaller places inside there.
Okay.
Because one of the other things is some of these big parks, they have parks within parks.
Okay.
So like in the Lake District and in the Peak District, you've got within the national park boundary itself, you've actually got a little place which is a nature reserve, like Lathkildale National Nature Reserve, just off the top of my head. So you can drop in. Well, I mean, if you can get a signal out of Lathkildale,
this is an interesting bit. Yeah.
If you can get a signal out, you can actually work Lathkildale on your first 10 contacts, and then stop that log, carry on transmitting, and then claim the Peak District at the same time.
Yeah.
You just need 10 contacts, 2 different logs.
So this could be HF, VHF, data modes.
Yep.
Not repeaters, no repeaters, but you can use satellites. Is that right?
You can use satellites, anything that's simplex.
Oh, simplex. Okay, right, yeah.
So, with the addition of satellites, obviously. So, what you can do on a repeater is if you're in a park, for instance, and it's a bit dry, you can go onto your local repeater, announce the fact that you're doing a park activation.
Okay.
And for people to join you on a frequency.
Oh yeah.
And then drop back onto that frequency.
Okay.
Calling a CQ.
Yeah.
So you can use the repeater to your advantage. Yeah. You just can't log the contacts you make on the repeater.
Makes sense. Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, any band, any mode, as long as it's within one calendar day.
Okay.
And it's 10 contacts.
Yeah.
10 contacts. Which doesn't sound much at all.
Outdoors in the fresh air.
Yeah, and you're outdoors in the fresh air. Yeah. And you get a few people walking by, giving you, some people just like stare at you, sort of like gone out, and
yeah.
And you'll know yourself. You go out portable plenty enough.
Yeah.
It's and then you get some people coming up to you and asking you questions, genuinely interested, and
this is good.
It's a good opportunity to promote the hobby.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay then, mate. Well, that's really useful. Just remind everybody, 20th and 21st of June.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and that's not to say you don't have to wait until the 20th.
No, of course not. No. I'm going to be activating my first park within the next few weeks, so I'll get that on the Facebook group, and then we'll also get a video out as well for that. So I'll be activating pretty soon myself now as well. Now we've got our local park, so I'll let you know when that's happening as well, and then we can chat a bit more about my first activation. We can celebrate it.
Yeah. Well, if you let me know, give me plenty of warning. If I'm able to, I'll actually get on air and try and get in your log.
Yep, brilliant. Yep, that's good.
I've got a park reference 500 yards from the house.
Okay.
And it's the only park I've been to so far and not actually activated. Which is,
Okay, the nearest one.
yeah, it was it was a quick off the cuff quick fire. Oh, I'll go in the park and put a few contacts out, see if I can get it activated, and everything went wrong.
Okay, yeah, that's what happens sometimes.
So yeah, so yeah, I think I got about 5 or 6 contacts. I left it too late in the day. That it was I think it was back in December or November, and the day, with the days being short anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't get up there till probably 2 o'clock,
right.
and obviously you spend time getting set up and getting settled in and whatnot, and yeah, I managed 7 contacts, and it started to get really cold up there,
Yeah,
so I had to call it a day, and yeah, had to get the tea on.
yeah. Okay, okay. Well, yeah, I'll give you a nudge when I'm out to do my first
Yeah,
activation.
certainly.
We'll
Yeah.
get in the air. So yeah, thanks for that, Andy. It's been really good. And yeah, I think this is the year where POTA takes off in the UK.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, yeah. The other thing is, I'm updating the database at the moment with and aligning all the park references to counties.
Okay,
Because
right.
one of the awards that you can get or pick up in the scheme is, did I mention awards? I didn't, did I?
No, 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 no. We could do awards.
Yeah. So like there's an awards progression aligned with the scheme, so that you get a certificate for your first 10 parks. You get you get a certificate for your first 10 park to parks, and it's just a little bit of an extra, really. But we haven't got any particular awards aligned to the UK. So what I thought would be nice was if we, instead of being whereas the UK parks are allocated to a state, we don't have states, obviously. So I got Jason to agree that we'd use the counties
Okay, yeah,
as our sort of like um, as our location basis,
yeah.
to basically align our parks with counties rather than their parks with the state that they're in, so that you can get a situation where you can one of the things that you could work for would be like work to all Yorkshire, or work to all South Yorkshire,
Okay, right.
or work to all North Yorkshire. And some of the big parks, obviously, because they have part of the park in several counties, means that by working the Yorkshire Dales, for instance, you can pick up North Yorkshire and Cumbria, because the top of the Yorkshire Dales actually extends into Cumbria.
Okay, right. Yeah, yeah.
So there's, and I think one of the parks has 6 counties associated with it. So if you're into that kind of thing, if you like chasing awards,
Yeah.
then they can really go at it, and pick up all the like work to all England. So do a park in all the counties.
Okay, right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So people can find out more on
yeah,
parksontheair.com.
and all the award stuff's there.
Yeah.
Obviously, at some point, I'm going to have to come up with some certificates to go along with
Okay.
these. It might have to be the Flat Cap and Whippet Award for Yorkshire, something like that, or the Cook Book Award
Of
for
course, yes.
Shropshire. Or is it Staffordshire? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Brilliant.
Um,
Okay then, mate. That's been really good.
yeah,
And yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on that, and I'll be sharing my Parks on the Air activity very soon as well.
good stuff. Good
Okay,
stuff.
matey. Well, thank you very much for that,
No
and
worries.
we'll see you soon.
Okay, mate. No worries. Cheers.